Alright, today we're going to be talking about Clayface, who is a confirmed villain in Gotham Knights. We saw him in the villains trailer, and Clayface is one of those Batman villains that I think has a really interesting gimmick to him, and I think that it is often fairly underutilized. I also think that even when Clayface is utilized well, they often really don't do justice to his backstory. I think that that original comic book backstory is so interesting and compelling. And essentially what happens is he's an actor who gets recast or who gets replaced for a reboot or something along those lines, and it pisses him off. And so he begins impersonating castmates and cast members as he goes on a killing spree on the new film production. Now, Warner Brothers, if you need another movie like Joker, do that, please. I think it's a really, again, just compelling, interesting backstory that could make for some really interesting character beats and moments, but we don't really see that tons. Now, that does not appear to be the direction they're going in Gotham Knights. In Gotham Knights, they are going for the more traditionally recognized Clayface, which is essentially a giant mud monster that can morph into different people, and I think that's super cool. It sounds like in his last encounter with Batman in the Gotham Knights universe, he was shredded and torn into different pieces, so the villain quest is actually about Clayface trying to become whole again, trying to find all of the clay that is part of him. This reminds me of the Harley Quinn show, actually, where like he loses his hand and his hand becomes friends with Jim Gordon until he finally gets it back. I also think it's interesting that this iteration of the character does make a lot of references to film and appears to sort of be making like his own documentary or something. Like he at least appears to be kind of mocking the motions of a film crew, and I think that that's a really interesting direction to take the character, because again, he was an actor, and so to see him sort of putting on that show as an actor does is really cool. On top of that, the set pieces with Clayface look really awesome, and his abilities versus the Knights, who really are human. They have their own abilities. Some of them are somewhat supernatural, like Red Hood has some supernatural abilities. But Clayface has essentially a superpower with his clay, and that is something that looks really cool to go up against. The way he moves looks really awesome, really creepy, but also very action-packed, so I cannot wait to see this interpretation of the character. I'm excited to see what characterization they give him, what backstory they do give him for this universe, and it's so refreshing to see a character who was done so well in Batman Arkham City. That is one of the places that I don't feel he was underutilized. Clayface was the main plot twist of that game, but we really only got one encounter with him. We got the plot twist that Joker was really Clayface, so we saw Clayface and got to fight him, and that was the end of the game, essentially. So to see a version of the character that isn't hiding behind a mask for the entirety of the game, but to see really Clayface as we know him, I think is really interesting, and I can't wait to fight him again. I can't wait to see some of these set pieces that they come up with. So I really am excited for what Warner Brothers Games Montreal have done with this character, and I'm just really interested to see a lot of these big, iconic Batman rogues in different contexts than we saw in the Arkham series, because as much as I love the Arkham series, they did have a very specific style for their villains and for their universe, and so to see something that is very different, I think is a very exciting prospect. But anyways, thanks you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Once again, do let me know in the comments below what villain in Gotham Knights you are most excited to go up against, and we will see you guys in the next one.